All right, friends, what's up? It is your buddy Keith, and I am here live again in the control room at Essex Recording Studios, just outside London in Southend-on-Sea, England. I've got my first ever Fernandes to share with you. I can't believe it. All these years, I've never owned a Fernandes, but now I have. I'll tell you a little interesting story, but first, if you're new to the channel, click like, hit subscribe, come join our circle of friends. I'm going to show you some rare, very cool guitars and basses, as we have here, from all around the world. So stick around, hit subscribe. All right, guys. First of all, my favorite thing about this bass, aside from its like overall just eye-popping image, is check out this lawsuit headstock. It's awesome. It's got a Fender style kind of logo, but in the Fernandes font, but in the right placement and kind of size as a Fender logo. Limited edition electric bass. It does have the little Fender custom body type thing. And this is just an awesome 60s style jazz bass, guys. So the funny story I was going to tell you is I took a few guitar lessons when I was a kid. This is like 12, 13. And it was at the local guitar shop. And the local guitar shop, I'm trying to remember what the heck it was called. I think it was called Music Man. It wasn't Medicine Man. I used to skip school and go to Medicine Man Music. But I think, Mr. Music, I think it might have been called. I'll have to ask my mom. Anyway, it was right around the corner. And they were a Fernandes dealer, a Washburn dealer, and the largest, and I think only, accordion dealer in Florida. It was crazy. They had accordions everywhere. The owner's father, I think the owner was a Polish guy, and his father or grandfather was a famous accordion player, accordionist. Yeah, and it was funny because I saw like Dimebag Darrell posters and I think like a life-size cutout somewhere in the shop, and I had no idea who he was. I mean, I was quite young. This is going back to like 1990. 6 or 7 maybe. I was taking these guitar lessons. Yeah. So young Keith didn't know anything about Washburns. I did like the pointy guitar though, and years later I would end up being a massive fan. And there was actually a Fernandes there that I thought was super cool, that I really, really wanted, and then I discovered Jackson, and that was over. But yeah, so after all of these years, I finally owned a Fernandes, and it's a bass. This, from what I'm told, from what I can see, this style headstock, where it's limited edition, is from the mid-80s, like 1984, 1985, and it's got a paper logo on the back with low serial number. It says Fernandes, made in Japan, 05456. And I found someone else online that had a neck, just a neck, with an 05 serial number, and he said his was in mid-80s. So that was for a guitar. But he had the same paper style tag on the back there, which is interesting. Big beefy tuners. You've got the skunk stripe, the 4-bolt 60 style neck plate. This says made in Japan. I was trying to find a date for this style neck plate. I've seen some where they have a serial number. You know, back then, pre-internet, in Japan, they didn't have a lot of organization. It's real hard finding anybody to date this brand. But yeah, guys, I mean, the spec's awesome. Look at this beautiful ash body. The red on this, I don't know what I would call it. I guess the reds on the camera phone always come out a little bit too red. There we go. That looks a little bit more correct. But I guess if you think of the red on a Sienna Burst Fender, that is kind of like what this red looks like. A bright cherry, kind of orangey, little tangerine-y. The thing that really pops out in my mind is the Sienna Burst red. It looks great. You can see all of the ash body wood grain through it. You know, to me, this looks like just an epic Fender style jazz bass, but it's built in Japan by really, really good luthiers. And the resonance on this, is one of the first things I noticed. It's crazy. It's really, really, really good. I think Fernandes might be the company that started the Sustainer pickup on guitars. There's Sustainiac, the Sustainer. Jackson uses, I guess, a version. I don't know if it's under license through them, but I'm pretty sure Fernandes was the company that started it. Notable players from on the bass side, probably the most notable would be Rob from Metallica. He plays Fernandes basses. So if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. And I'm trying to think of who was a big player in the 90s. Man, I remember seeing posters everywhere. I can't remember if it was Rob Zombie's guitarist played Fernandes. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm going back to my mental Guitar World magazine subscription days. I'm looking at all the advertisements. I think that's one of my favorite things, going through each month's Guitar World. Just looking at all the cool ads with all the cool rock stars showing all their new gear and signature models. This one has a couple aftermarket things. One, pick guard with no screws in it. It looks like somebody wanted just a white style, kind of in this shape, and kind of cut it, modified it, and stuck it on, and boom, there it is. And then knobs. We've got 3 different knobs. It looks like you've got a volume tone, and then in the middle, there's a, I can hear that, but it kind of detents, clicks in. I think that's a roll-off from pickup to pickup. And you can kind of blend it, I'm guessing. That is my guess. I have not plugged it in yet. I got it from a guy who collects Japanese basses and has them in really good condition. I'll take this out of the case because the other one we got was an 80's ESP 400 bass that's in incredible condition as well. I mean, this guitar is 35 years old. This bass, and I mean, there's a few marks, few of Keith's fingerprints on there. There's a little chip there, and little chip there. We get in focus. There we go. Little chip there, and on the horn, oh, little bit of lacquer blemish there. On the horn over here, there's a little chip. It looks like it's just been touched up, so you can see that. But I mean, guys, this thing looks awesome. What a good looking, oh yeah, and you can really see it where the light hits. It does kind of have a sienna burst, a little bit of an orangey tint to it. Because now I'm seeing it in the phone, it really makes it stick out. But yeah, this is a good looking jazz bass with lots of natural resonance and sustain. The body feels great, guys. It's ash. Nothing about the fit or finish on it feels cheap. Same thing with the neck. It feels very well made. It looks very well made. It very much looks the part. And these Japanese lawsuit instruments are going way, way up in value. Everyone's looking out for them because obviously, you know, now Japanese made instruments, back in the 80's, I mean, we were only, when this thing was made, we were 40 years out from the World War II. I mean, my grandpa, boy, he did not like things made in Japan, and he let everybody know about it. And definitely growing up in America, and then growing up in the South in America, you know, there was definitely a lot of prejudice against goods and items that were made in Japan. And generally anything made in Asia was thought to be crap, and it had to be made in USA, America. Absolutely. Well, what we know, obviously now, after all these years, is that the instruments made in Japan during this era and ever since are phenomenal. Their standards are high, as high, if not higher, than standards in the West. And now that years and years have passed, these have caught the eyes of major players, major collectors over the years, and that they've actually stood the test of time. Because, I mean, look at the condition on this. Well, yeah, they've made a name for themselves, and now everybody wants these Japanese instruments, especially with lawsuit features. That is just something that's going to, you know, go up in value forever. The Fernandes pickups, no idea, but if I had to guess, based on the quality and craftsmanship of everything else I've seen on this from the factory, uh, my guess is they're going to sound pretty killer. And regardless, these days, how hard is it to just throw in your favorite pickups? You know, if you want to throw in some Fender custom shop pickups, go nuts. EMGs, no problem. Well, I wanted to share with you guys my first ever Fernandes and tell you my little story about how I used to take guitar lessons at the Fernandes dealer. Thanks for checking out the instrument. It's going to go up for sale on the Reverb channel. So stay tuned. I usually take about a day. Sometimes I get it up on the night. Sometimes it takes me like the next day to get them all listed. But it will go up on the Reverb website, our store, and on our website, EssexRecordingStudios.com. If you want to record with it, it will be here in the stables. Might pop it on the rack over here and get it to use this week. With Youth Illusion, they used a really cool ESP bass last time they were in. I'm going to show them this one. And until next time, guys, stay tuned because you have to see what's hiding in this gig bag. It's a beautiful blue ESP bass, and the condition's phenomenal. Cool, guys. I'll let you go. Thanks for hanging out. Follow us on the socials at Essex Recording Studios, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Cool. Later, dudes.